Found a teen sleeping in our detached garage. What would you do? When I was in high school, I had a friend that had a rough home life. By that point, my parents were divorced and I lived with my mother only. When Mom found out about my friend's situation, she extended an invitation for my friend to move in with us until she found a place she can move into on her own. If you have the room, let them stay with you. You said they were a friend of one of your children. Children don't belong on the streets. Showing compassion and kindness will hopefully be imprinted on children as they grow older. You could invite him in next time. He's a kid and clearly needs some help. Tell him you guys are a safe place if he needs it. Set up somewhere safe and warm he can come when needed without feeling like he is bothering you. You might not feel okay giving Heen a house key, but maybe set up a sofa bed, blankets, deodorant, some snacks in the garage. He'll open up soon enough once he feels safe. Sometimes all someone needs is a little bit of stability and hope. I think that you and your husband have the opportunity to be that presence in their life. Invite them in, let them know that they are welcomed and appreciated, and that they can look to you and your family for comfort at any time. Don't ask too many questions, those will come up naturally, and I think it's clear that there is some trauma there. Doing this too soon can push them away and make the problem worse. X200B. That being said, do understand that there's always a chance things go wrong and that they can hurt you in some way. Whether that's turning to drugs, maybe stealing something from your home, or just turning you away when offering to help. This doesn't mean you should be afraid, though. This is ultimately what it means to be ethical and to be vulnerable. If no one ever took the chance to help someone out, then society would be a dark and sad place. Do the right thing here. He wouldn't be sleeping in your garage if there weren't huge problems at home. At least he felt safe enough to come to your house. I was that kid, and your kid most likely let them in or left it open for them. My parents took a few of my sister and his friends in over the years. That kid had no choice but to sneak into the only safe place they could find. If this happened to me, I would immediately let them know they have a safe place to stay at my house anytime and get them into a warm bed. They are a kid. They can't support themselves, and some parents aren't capable of taking care of other people. The difference you could make to this kid could mean that they have a safe place to finish high school instead of being homeless, dropping out to work, or worse. Find out what's going on and see what you can do to help. I was one of those teens. Back in the 90s, lived with my grandfather until he died. I was 16. Looking back, all the red flags were there, but I didn't have any help. Couch surfed 2 years and still graduated high school. I had a teacher who used to bring me leftovers and a friend's mom who used to let me stay in the basement in the winter. I wouldn't have made it without either of them. As a parent, you are in a position to be a huge impact to this teen, even in the smallest of ways. I have had a bunch of not my kids over the years. My home was always a safe space for them to run to. The cops even dropped them off sometimes. I have no advice, but it was 100 worth it to give those kids a safe home. I'd ask the kid what's going on at home and go from there. Ask your kids if they know more about his situation. And if not, let them assist you to find out what happened. And please let him stay and tell him he is always welcome. I had the same situation with a friend of my ex-GF's daughter. She knew she could always come to us if she needs a safe space to stay. This is very sad. If one of my kids' friends were doing it tough like this, I would have to invite them in and offer a place to be safe. It happens, but as teens they are way more vulnerable than they would like to believe. A stable home life is important for a good start to life. I know there are many that didn't have this, and it has made them who they are. But I challenge anyone, would they have done better if this wasn't part there of life? Then there are those who have never got back on their feet. When I was a teenager, 31 now, I was all but abandoned. We had a house, etc. But Mom was married to a very physically abusive stepfather. My bio dad left before I was born. I moved in with my friend at the time. His mom took care of me like her own. A warm bed, toothbrush, yeah, didn't even have that. 3 square meals, and a ride to school, yep. Mom was a real winner. We're still brothers to this day. If this child is your children's friend, you have an opportunity to save someone. I forever love you for saving me, Miss Theory. Rest in peace. Kid needs help. Find resources for teens in your area, write them down, give them to him. Nothing needs to be said. Maybe your kid can talk to him about what's going on. Heck, word spreads with kids, yours might already know. Give an open invitation to the house. I am a girl, my friend was a boy. My mom let him crash on our couch from 15 to 18 when he got a full-time job and his own apartment. His brother was killed by stepdad at 16. I have been this kid. I had a shit home life, and even the thought of sleeping at home was enough to keep me awake at night. So I would leave in the middle of the night and sleep at the park. Eventually, I made a friend named Nick. Nick never asked me about my home life and I never spoke of it. Nick's parents were better off, and similar to this story, had a detached garage with a heater in it. I had only been to Nick's house a few times, but knew the side door to the garage was always left unlocked and that his parents parked in front of the garage, not in it. On cold nights I would walk about 2 miles to get to Nick's house and sleep in the garage. One morning his dad needed a tool from the garage and opened it to find me sleeping on the floor by their heater. I hadn't spoken much to him at that point. Just hellos and goodbyes. He offered to let me sleep on the couch, and then from there gave me a key to the place and the stipulation that if I ever needed a place to sleep it was available. I don't talk to Nick anymore or his parents, but I am forever grateful for what they did for me during that hard period of my life. Tell that child next time they need a safe place to sleep to knock on the door. You can't force them to talk about the situation, but make it clear to them that if they ever want to, you will be there to listen. OP, I've been your kid and your kid's friend at different times in my childhood. What do you want your child to learn about how to treat their friends from this situation? Because that is what's going on. My mom screamed and threw my friend out in the middle of the night. I have never forgiven her. We got along fine and I love her, but that moment was a window into who she is. My friend's family let me stay when I needed to, and always offered before I could ask. After a few months of off and on stay, I finally trusted them enough to tell them what was going on. I'm well into parent aged now, and I make sure my nephews see how I want them to treat people, because anyone can talk the talk about being kind and generous. You need to ask what's up and make sure the child is safe. If their home life is unsafe, encourage them to speak to a school counselor, maybe IGE. You can anonymously call social services and ask their advice how to handle such situations and the pitfalls. My friend has a kid whose home life is bad that she gave an open invitation to. Child hangs at my friend's place after school and overnights. Turns out her parents find picking their child up to be an inconvenience. My friend saw them out in bad weather killing hours a day with no supervision prior. Their kids are not close anymore, but the invitation stands.